Hey everyone. How's it going? Coach Kim here from KimberlyBroom.com. This is take 2 of my talk tonight because I am working on a new platform. Coach Kim here from KimberlyBroom.com. This is take 2 of my talk. I'm getting some feedback, sorry. So I'm pausing here. I don't know what's going on. So guys, I'm gonna need your help here. If you can hear me okay, give me a thumbs up when you're tuning in. Let's see. When you're tuning in. Let's see. All right, I think I have volume. All right, I'm gonna go for it. Take 2. So, Coach Kim here from KimberlyBroom.com. Psyched that you guys are here with me tonight. As you're hopping on, say hello. Let me know you're here. I love coming back and looking at the comments and looking to see who is checking out the replay, who is tuning in with me live. If you're catching the replay, hashtag replay. So let me know so I can come back and say hello to you and give you a shout out. So feel free to drop an emoji and let me know how you're doing tonight. And so tonight we're going to talk about storing fat in our hips, butt, and thighs. So if this is you, you may be storing some excess estrogen. All right, so you might have excess estrogen. That might be a hormone imbalance for you because that if you do store fat in your hips, butt, and thighs, that is an indication of it. Okay. So let's talk about this. How we store fat, it is very telling as far as how our hormones, what the balance is, you know, the health of our hormones. And so, like I just said, the hips, butt, and thighs, that could, you know, for women especially, that can be an indicator of excess estrogen. So what causes this excess estrogen? Well, first of all, excess estrogen is directly related to progesterone. I just did this before. Progesterone. I can't say it. So on take 1, I did the same thing. I'm like totally tongue-tied tonight. Progesterone. There we go. So ideally, these two work together, right? There's like a natural flow. They work together. They're balanced out. There's an ebb and flow, and they maintain each other. But something, if something blocks the progesterone, like excess cortisol, so if your cortisol levels are elevated, that can block it. And then we become estrogen dominant. So cortisol is another hormone we've been talking about earlier this week, and we're going to do a major talk on this on Saturday. We're talking about stress and cortisol levels. So increased cortisol levels can block the progesterone. You heard me say it. And then that can lead us to become estrogen dominant. That's number 1. Number 2 is perimenopause. All right, so perimenopause is that period, that 1 or 2 years leading up to your final period, that period of time leading up until your final period, ladies. And you know, if you've been there, if you're going through it, what a fun time that is, right? I mean, your body's doing all kinds of crazy things and you're like, what is going on here? But this can lead to excess estrogen. And what's happening is that the body, it's sensing this natural decline in the production of eggs, and it's starting to go into overdrive, creating estradiol. And it, you know, because it's kind of like this last ditch effort for you to reproduce, right? So it's like, whoa, what's going on here? We need to produce this massively. So we get the surge, and as we do, this can lead us to become estrogen dominant. So that's another way that we tend to become, you know, tend to develop this excess estrogen. And then the third way, the biggest thing that I really wanted to talk about tonight, and what we're seeing a lot of nowadays, is xenoestrogens. This is leading us to become estrogen dominant. And there's a direct correlation between this exposure of the xenoestrogens. And these are like BPAs and phthalates. These are synthetic industrial chemicals. Okay, so they're man-made chemicals. We are exposed to them all the time, and they start to leach into our systems, and they get trapped in our tissues and in our fat stores. Because if you remember, I was talking about this a couple days ago, that the more fat we have, the more toxins and excess hormones we store, and the more we store those, the more fat we have. So it's this vicious cycle, but they get stored up, they get trapped in our body. All right. And we're exposed to them. Long-term exposure can lead to breast cancer. It leads to early onset of puberty, of menstruation for young girls. It's linked to prostate cancer. It's linked to low sperm counts. And when men, if you notice men, and they tend to develop the excess fat over their pecs, like the man boobs, if you've heard them called, that is estrogen dominance. Okay, that is a sign of it. So these BPAs and these phthalates, these xenoestrogens, these are found all over the place. So BPAs you can find in toothpaste, in deodorant, in sunscreen, in food preservatives, in the lining of our canned foods, which is crazy. There was a study a few years ago, EWG.org did this study, and they randomly shopped grocery stores across the United States and for canned goods, and more than half of the canned goods that they purchased, they discovered, and they could demonstrate that the BPAs from the lining of the can was leaking into the food. And then we ingest the food, and then it gets stored in our body. And these things are nasty. These are nasty for our body. They are hormone disruptors. They just disrupt the whole endocrine system. All right. So the worst offenders, chicken soup and canned raviolis. Oh my God. Right. Like I grew up on Chef Boyardee. Oh my, like crazy. So, and this is stuff, we eat all the time, Phthalates. Phthalates are used in like soft plastics, in a lot of makeups, hair care, creams, nail polish, shower curtains, shampoos, baby toys, flooring, in different car, parts of cars, the manufactured parts of cars, some of them on the interiors. But these phthalates, they affect the reproductive system in men and women. They increase the risk of diabetes in children. They throw off your thyroid, so they promote thyroid dysfunction in adults and in kids. I mean, just major hormone and disruption and bodily disruption, right? So the longer these things sit in our system, again, the exposure to cancer, the increased risk for cancers, it's not good. It's definitely not good. It's definitely not healthy. So and it starts off, we started just looking at it like cosmetically, right? We're like, oh, we got extra fat in our butt. But the long-term effects of these are so much greater, right? And what we're seeing, with our, raising up our children and what they're going through, because they're exposed to these at a younger age because of, how we do things nowadays, right? How we manufacture things. So what can you do, right? What can you do about this to limit your exposure, to get rid of these things that are in your body, and reduce your risk for health, all the health factors that go along with this, and let alone your weight? Okay, so one, you can clearly reduce your intake of canned food items, right? So reduce or avoid altogether canned foods right off the bat. Eat from glass, from stainless steel, or even ceramic containers. And if you do still use plastic containers, make sure they're BPA free and don't microwave them, right? So never microwave any of your Tupperwares or, the Gladwares or whatever it is, because then they will leach faster into your system, into your foods, and then into your system. You can look for natural alternatives when it comes to cosmetics, when it comes to nail products, when it comes to hair products, deodorant. They are more and more prevalent now. Awareness is definitely being raised about toxins and the long-term effects. So if you look for these, if you ask around, you know, you can find some great companies, and even probably in your local grocery store, you can find some good alternatives. It's a matter of taking the extra time to look for them and source them out, but they're definitely out there and you can definitely find them. Obviously, I'm going to say lose weight, right? So losing weight is a big one to reduce that excess estrogen. One, because the less fat you have, the less places that all these toxins get stored up, right? And the less fat, the less toxins. Less toxins, less fat. So it's a win-win on that one. Bulking up on fiber. Fiber will help pull things through your system, you know, pull it out of your system, and therefore through elimination, it will help reduce the the estradiol in the system and eliminate the excess estrogen. Exercise, another good one. Exercise it reduces the estradiol, which estradiol increases estrogen. So exercise is great, you know, overall. Just the more muscle, the less fat you have, the less the ability for your body to store those toxins. It kind of goes hand in hand with losing weight. Two last things you can do is, one is you can go to bed by 10 p.m., right? So you can get a good night's sleep. Why? Because when you can produce the right amount of melatonin, that will eliminate and reduce the excess estradiol production. So that will help there as well. And then certain supplements. So definitely with foods and with supplementation. So foods I mentioned the other day with cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, kale, cauliflowers, mustard greens, collard greens, any cruciferous vegetables will help. And then supplements like turmeric, like resveratrol, green tea, milk thistle. If you know your meats and your cheeses, go with organics. So that will again help to reduce the exposure. But folks, if you like that, I have more detail. I know that was top level, and I don't even know if you guys can hear me right now because of this new platform that I'm using. But I hope it works out because it's pretty cool. Anyhow, I have this, which is, I don't know if you've seen it before. It's a body fat map. This thing is awesome. This is a free download. This is like Hormone 101 education, but it will talk to you about where you're storing fat and where this might be an indicator of a hormone imbalance. So it goes over all the 16 different metabolic hormones that we deal with. So not just estrogen, it talks about the others as well. And you will get a little email series like with the Hormone 101 education. It's a free download. If you're like me, kind of like a science geek, and you like to learn about this stuff, hit me up, comment in this video, just say, I want the download, write that in, and I'll get you the link. So guys, I appreciate you guys joining me. I cannot see you, but let me know you're here, especially because I cannot see you as you jump on. Hashtag replay for those of you catching the replay. And for those of you joining me live, thank you so much. And I hope you can hear me. And make sure you get yourself the body fat map. Type it in the comments. I want this. All right, let me see if I can log off of this right now. Actually, let me check on my phone, see who's with me. All right. And we'll go back into here. I'm going to stop my recording. And then we're out. Okay, guys. Thank you. Bye.